Hallo ihr Lieben und herzlich willkommen bei Living in Vienna. My name is Rose and today we talk about the history of Vienna, which dates back all the way to the Neolithic period. We cannot talk about the history of Vienna without talking about the Schönbrunn where we are at. Behind me is the Gloriette, which is actually where Sissi used to get her breakfast from. Now there are places here that you can also have coffee, but I think that's Viennese best kept secret. And if you stay all the way to the end of this video, I may tell you about these secret hangouts where you can also catch a coffee. For now, let's talk about the history of Vienna. This is Vienna, the city of kings and queens, great empires, architectural heritage, and world-renowned culture. Vienna is a vibrant European city that holds fascinatingly varied history, dating all the way back to the Neolithic period. The city got its name from the Celts who had a settlement here called Vindobona. The Romans would later take over Vindobona and name the military camp they set up here Vindobona. As the Roman Empire declined, the city would change hands numerous times in the following centuries. The first mention of the town as Wenia was found in 881, and a document from 996 referred to the wider area as Österreich, the name that would eventually become Österreich, or Austria as we know it in English. Under the Babenberg dynasty, Vienna prospered and became an important trading center. In 1221, it acquired city status. The Babenberg dynasty fell and a new family rose in power, the Habsburg, who held the city under their power for over 600 years. Vienna would eventually become the capital of Austro-Hungarian Empire in 1556 after the Habsburgs had gained Hungary and Bohemia. In 1679, the bubonic plague struck the city, killing nearly a third of its population. It suffered revolts under the Reformation and Counter-Reformation and was also the site of several sieges by the Ottoman Empire. It was attacked by the Turks in 1529 and later in 1683, but succeeded in resisting both. Over the following decades, as the Turkish forces were pushed back to the Balkans, Vienna could prosper in peace. The city's Baroque palaces and stately homes were created during this period of peace in the 1700s. When Charles V, the last of Habsburg, died, his daughter Maria Theresa took over. Her son Joseph would later succeed her. During both of their reign, many civil reforms that we see today were instituted. They reorganized the economy, the army, and the judiciary. They granted increased freedom to different religions. They improved government and education and supported the arts, as well as making German the country's official language. The city's population grew and it entered a golden age of music, thanks to Gluck, Haydn, and Mozart, and later Beethoven and Schubert. This glory was short-lived as the beginning of the 19th century saw inflation and state bankruptcy following Napoleon's occupation of Vienna in 1805 and again in 1809. However, Vienna maintained a central political position in Europe following the end of the Napoleonic Wars, hosting the Congress of Vienna in 1814 to 1815 to restore the balance of power. Many other things happened during this Congress of Vienna. That's when the slave trade was abolished, borders were established in Europe, which I think informed the drawing of borders in Africa, but that's a story for a different period. The city was heavily involved in the 1848 revolution, which resulted in Franz Joseph being named emperor. Under his rule, Vienna evolved into a modern city with infrastructure improvements and a rapidly growing economy and population. It became the fourth biggest city worldwide at the time. When the Austro-Hungarian Empire was formed in 1867, Vienna became the imperial capital and continued its cultural growth with flourishing music, architecture, and painting movement, among other arts. World War I stalled the city's development and signaled the end of the empire. its territories were divided, and in 1919, the Republic of Austria was born, with Vienna as its capital. With the 1920s came the rise of fascism, and in 1934, civil war broke out on the city's streets, paving way for its annexation by Nazi Germany. After suffering huge amounts of destruction from heavy bombing by Allied forces during World War II, Vienna was liberated by Soviet troops in 1945. It was then divided into occupation zones and controlled by different Allied powers until its independence in 1955. Since then, the city has grown from strength to strength, and since the 1970s, it has been an official seat of the United Nations, among other cities such as Nairobi, Kenya, and Geneva in Switzerland. While modernization has occurred, including improved transport systems and construction of skyscrapers across the city, the priceless architectural heritage of the city has also been preserved, and the historical center of the city was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2001. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for hanging out. I hope this information was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Until next video, tschüss. Wiedersehen. Kwaheri.